What up, survivors? Welcome to D180, the horror movie podcast, taking you on a ride. Thanks for linking up with us. I am AJ.
And I'm Janae.
Camp 180 is coming to a close this week. It's time for something new. Just closing it for this season. It's about to be August. If y'all want to know what that August theme is going to be, y'all can just stick around to the end. Or you can go visit our IG page at D180 Podcast and you can go see the new theme for yourself. This week, we're going to be talking Friday the 13th, the original camp slasher. The thing about this movie is usually when you say Friday the 13th, instantly you're thinking Jason Voorhees, but
Not this one.
not at all. But before we tell you what the real tea is with that, if you don't know, you need to go find out first, because I'm gonna let y'all know this movie came out in 1980. So at this point, I mean, you should have seen it. Like, park recommendations. If y'all feeling Friday the 13th, then you should definitely go see Friday the 13th Part 2. It picks up right after this happens. So, boom, there you go. My second recommendation would be Black Christmas 1974. Did you get a chance to see that? We were supposed to do that back when, but we didn't. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I didn't end up watching it.
I love that one. I say you should watch that one because, like I said, that one came out in 74. So that's a few years before what people would really associate the 80s slasher craze, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But, do you remember your first time seeing this?
Yeah. For this, I have a confession to make. This was actually my first time ever seeing this movie. It had been spoiled for me already years ago, so I just never saw the point of watching it. And even talking to my mother the other day, I was like, "Hey, Mom, let's watch Friday the 13th tonight." And she was like, "For what? I can tell you all about that movie." And then she just went on a tangent on how much she hates it.
Oh, wow. You should see my face. Like my mouth is just open because I was like, oh, I mean, like who hasn't? Obviously, duh, but wow.
Yeah, I had never seen this one.
Wow. Okay. I had to take a second to process this.
Because as I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't think I ever mentioned that I had never seen this movie. And it's because I had already knew the ending. So it was kind of just like, I mean, I could already tell you what happened.
I mean, you just weren't curious to see how it unfolded?
Not really, based off of the reviews I've heard from other people.
Oh, wow. I'm just interested to know what you think now that you actually watched it.
I'll probably watch other franchise movies in the franchise now because I've never seen any Friday the 13th movie, to be quite honest. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What?
I think I may have seen like bits and pieces of Friday versus Jason if it ever came on TV, but like the Jason franchise, that was never a thing for me.
Weren't you on here with me talking ish about the Friday the 13th franchise a few episodes back?
Yeah, because I don't understand the point.
Well, you haven't watched it, so you can't say that. That's not fair.
This is true. It's like, I don't know. Why are there so many movies? The same way I feel about Fast and the Furious. Why are there so many daggone movies?
It's like I feel it, but it's like at the same time, at least I've seen at least up to I think I've seen 4 or 5 Fast and Furious movies. So I feel like I can say okay, you're doing a lot because I've seen it and it's just not my tease. But you literally haven't even, girl, what?
Yep, haven't even seen it.
That's not fair. No, you got to get into it. So you have to take what you said back because you can't judge yet.
We'll see.
You might find a new fave. And Jason, that is crazy. You was talking crazy. You know what happens when you talk crazy on Jason? His mama's gonna come. The OG Karen.
Not the OG Karen.
She is. Think about it. She really is the OG Karen. Like, this girl was keeping this camp closed for all these years because her son died by killing other people's kids.
Well, see,
if that's not a Karen, I don't know what is.
I mean, I don't think the Karens is really out here killing other kids.
They not. That's why I said this is an OG. This a different level. This is like OG, triple OG.
Oh
Okay.
man.
I got so caught up in you not having seen this movie that I'm like, I'm like, wow, like I don't even know what to do. I think my first time seeing this movie, I don't know when was my first time seeing this, honestly. I just know I seen it. It was just one of those things, like I just think I was watching a whole bunch of stuff. It had to be pretty young though. And again, it was probably one of them Comcast situations. Who knows? I done seen this so many times.
Yeah, my mama hate this movie. No wonder I probably had never seen it because she hated so much.
And that could probably tell you why, like, I had a thing towards Fear Street 1978, especially because we just watched it and then watched Friday the 13th. I was like, wow, I know I was joking when I said some things in the episode. Oh, I wasn't joking, but you know me. But some of the things I was saying in the episodes, I was making like vast comparisons. But when I watched Friday the 13th, I was like, oh, wait, wow. Yeah. Hmm. But we'll get into it. But before we do all that, let me tell y'all how this actually came about. Because you know what? I like to think that I'm petty and I like to think that I'm a little sneaky when it comes to things. But Sean S. Cunningham, he is a different level of sneaky. Let me tell you something, okay? So Friday the 13th, it wasn't the first to really do what it does, talking about the whole trope of a group of teens being stalked and getting killed. No, obviously it wasn't the first. But because of how popular it would become, it did kind of like put on camp slashers. So kind of think of it like a Mount Rushmore of slasher movie settings. So you got like suburban neighborhoods, high schools, college, and now you got a campground, right? So boom, put that on the map. So in the early 70s, remember we were just talking about Black Christmas. I think we've only covered like maybe like two or three movies from the 70s, maybe two. Just Alice, Sweet Alice, and Carrie. I think
I
that's
could have
it. I don't
sworn there was
know.
another one.
That's what I felt that way too. But I mean.
So it wasn't Piranha one?
Oh yeah,
No.
you're right.
Was it?
That was 78. You're right. So it was three. But the movies that we've seen that come from the 70s, they go there a little bit, but not all the way. So it's kind of like building that bridge for 80 movies to go the full mile. You know how it is. The older sibling takes a little inch and then the younger sibling just run wild. That's how the 70s and 80s was for like slashers and horror movies and stuff. So, the 80s really turned into, how now we be talking about everything get a remake.
Yep.
The
Everything.
80s, everything was getting a sequel. So, with all that being said, slashers was on the map, and then documentary style footage taping was on the map. Sean Cunningham was like, oh, well, it's my time to shine because all you really got to do, and this is what he said in the documentary, all you really got to do is just get a camera, tape something, and you could be running with the big boys. And when he said that, I was thinking, like, how relevant is that today? And I'm not even talking about movies. Like, look at your
YouTubers.
social media. Yes, thank you. YouTubers, TikTokers, Tabitha Brown. She convinced the world that they can turn carrots into hot dogs.
And bacon.
And I know y'all tried it. I didn't because I didn't have any carrots at the time, but I know y'all tried it. I know
I
some of y'all
don't. I
did.
didn't try the hot dog, but I tried the bacon. I don't think I made it right
Mm-mm.
because it did not turn out crunchy. Like the crunch that she had in the video, I did not get
Mm-mm.
that.
Oh, dang. Maybe you got to try it again or something. I don't know. But the point is, he's not wrong, especially at this point in time. But, he had a few films under his belt. One in particular that stands out is The Last House on the Left with Wes Craven. I highly recommend that one if you haven't seen it, but I will say, brace yourself. Do not get mad at me after you watch it, but I do recommend it, but just be ready for that because Wes was on some other shit with that. But what started happening with Sean S. Cunningham was all of his mutuals that he was coming into the movie gang with, they were starting to eat. They were starting to get in their bag. They was like getting these movies that was stapling the horror genre or whatever, and they was coming up, and he wasn't. So you know how that feel. Everybody had that moment, and he just like, okay, well, I need something that's going to get me that pop Then John Carpenter drops Halloween. And of course, we ain't even got to discuss the material with that. Y'all know how that popped off. But as far as the first one goes, Sean made a few calls and legit said, this Halloween movie just made all this money. Let's rip it off. So he has this idea about a film called A Long Night at Camp Blood, but now it's called Friday the 13th. And again, he moused his way into this too. Listen to this. Why did somebody else have a movie called Friday the 13th, right? If y'all want to know about it, it's down below. There you go. Somebody else had this movie with this title. He went and made a poster with the Friday the 13th logo, a little 3D one, put it out there. People was interested in it. Then he went to the copyright people to have it copywritten. That's how he was able to get the name before the movie that was already in production was able to get it, because they didn't even want to battle with copyright issues. They ain't really had
That's
the
shady.
money, ain't it? That Friday the 13th movie, they called it Friday the 13th the Orphan, so it can have a little different. But then Friday the 13th ended up doing what it did, and they just renamed it to The Orphan, but not to be confused with Orphan 2009. So it's now you got another problem, because if I say Orphan, we thinking Esther.
Yeah.
It's damn, why you have to screw them like that? That's messed up. So then you got Victor Miller, who's the writer, right? And when he wrote the story, he said he was kind of inspired by Psycho. And you can see it pretty much. It's basically Psycho flipped. Instead of the son, it's the mom. And
Yeah.
instead of the mom, it's the son. And it's very evident. You can see it. But let me tell you something else. Do you know he is very upset that this franchise is even a thing?
I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. Why is he upset?
Because he says, okay, first of all, I wrote Jason to be a victim. How did y'all take him from being a victim to being this super machine murderer?
That makes sense because I don't even understand. Because I know how all the movies play out for the most part. So I agree with the writer for now.
It's okay, when you watch the movies, obviously, when it comes to Jason, I can appreciate him for what he is now. But when you think about it, I guess the movie ends and it just would have been a one-off movie. But that is kind of messed up if it just would have been that and just a mom geeking about her son.
Right. Poor thing. I like
But
that.
on the flip side, we did get Jason out the deal, though. So,
And I have a knife.
mm-mm.
Wait, no. Take that back. I have a mask. There we go. Wrong person.
Not you mixing up people.
Because I was just in my office and I saw the knife. But it's the wrong thing. I'm talking about my mask. I have a mask. I'm going to hang it on the wall.
Speaking of mixing up, Harry Manfredini is responsible for the music, and this music is so Psycho and Jaws inspired. Well, first off, you instantly get Psycho because you get the little stings. You hear those. And then it's Jaws in the aspect as, how do you know that the shark is coming, right?
Right.
The music. So every time somebody is lurking, you hear the music, because it is actually some part. Well, you know what's interesting about that? That's actually not the sound. And a lot of
What
people
is
do it that
it?
way. And that comes from when Pamela is saying, kill her, mommy. And what he did was, when he said, the echo machine had distorted it a little bit, but in documentary, from his own words and from newer versions, you hear it a lot more clear. So yeah, and it's so crazy because everybody does it the way you initially did it.
Listen, that's the I was loving the soundtrack. Not even the soundtrack, the musical score, this whole entire movie. I was just about
Same,
I
I
was
was
more
loving
so
it.
more into the music than the kills.
It's funny you say that, because BJ was watching this with me, and obviously we're sitting next to each other, and the music's going throughout the movie, and I'm looking at him, he's bobbing his head and stuff. I'm like, oh
Me
wow,
too. That's why I'm like, if somebody was watching me watch this movie, they would probably think that I was psychotic because people are getting slashed left and right, and I'm sitting here bobbing my head along, jamming to the music.
oh, you should wait until you get further in the franchise. It gets a little funky new version. It's really cute. I like it.
Hmm.
You know
Just
who
like
else
me
is gonna
jamming to
be?
just like me jamming to the Halloween theme song. I showed you
Okay,
that.
you gotta no 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 no. You have to admit, and I'm not being funny because y'all know that I have a horror playlist on Apple. No, some of these horror jams really be a bop. Like even the brand new, don't get me started, the brand new Child's Play 2019. Y'all is crazy if y'all don't think Bear McQuarrie did his thing on that. Yeah, don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. Okay. Anyway, speaking of beats, you know who else was on the beat?
Who?
Savini on the beat. Y'all know I love me some Savini. And
Oh, I know he did
of
the special
course,
effects.
that's what I meant.
Oh,
The
the
makeup
beat.
beats.
Oh,
Oh
girl.
gosh. This, oh gosh. I don't know which one is worse. This one or the commentary. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, guys, I'm gonna fill you in because I'm gonna be honest. At the moment, Ruin Me is one of the least listened to episodes. It's cool, we get it, and not a lot of people saw it, but you can see it on Shutter. Shameless plug. But in that episode, John A watched a film commentary on Ruin Me, and when we reported it to you guys, she told you guys not to watch the commentary because it's just the commentary throughout the movie. Sis did not know that that's what a commentary was. So just in case you're missing the joke, there you go.
Oh,
Um,
I was having a very, very slow moment.
and it's like y'all have to hear it. Y'all have to hear it because she was serious, dead ass serious.
uh, my brain was fried. I'm sorry.
It's cool. It's cool. But yes, like I was saying, Savini on the beat. And of course, he did some of the scenes too. So that scene where Brenda goes through the window, that's him.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, the very end kill that I'll just briefly glaze over. He swings the axe, but it's his assistant's hands. It's not their hands. I'll get into it when we get there.
Wait. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'll
had to think
explain
about
further.
it.
I love it. We love it. I just, if getting it done yourself as a person, it's Savini. By the way, he also hosts this documentary called His Name Was Jason. It's like the 30 years of Friday the 13th. That documentary is also linked below for you. Enjoy that. Y'all know we just be hooking y'all up in the park. Y'all be getting all types of goodies in y'all little bags. The last scene, speaking of things that were influenced by Savini, him, they wasn't going to even do that very, very last scene with Alice in the boat, in the canoe. And you want to know why?
Why?
Savini saw Carrie and said the ending of Carrie just shook him to his core that he was like, we should do this. The power that Carrietta White holds again. Again. I keep telling y'all stop playing with Carrietta White. She is the moment. I keep telling y'all stop playing with her. Stop. Stop. Speaking of, why in my research did I come across this like comic fanfic of like Jason? He's a camp counselor at Crystal Lake. And he wears these short shorts, right? But it's like a comic strip. But in one of the comic strips, he's actually taking Carrie to the prom, and Pamela and Margaret White meet each other, and
Wow.
girl, it's everything you think it will be. I'm gonna send it to you. If I can get a link to it, I'm gonna link it below so y'all can see it because I was dying reading these comics because absolutely not. It's for real everything you think it would be if Margaret White and Carrie met Pamela Voorhees and Jason.
Wow.
But not only that, Savini was going around influencing a lot of stuff, right? The look of Jason, like the look of baby Jason, like in the water, was him based off of somebody that he knew around town.
Oh.
And I know, right? That's kind of mean. Because even the name of Jason, Jason was originally supposed to be Josh. And it was this kid that I don't know if like Cunningham or Miller, one of them knew a kid named Josh, but then one of them knew a kid that was a little more meaner named Jason. And then one of their college roommates had the last name Voorhees. I'm like, y'all just name it, build a name, which I mean is essentially what you do. But
Yeah. I know a lot of people do the whole building name thing.
honestly, I mean, that is what you do, but it's just crazy to see where the names come from. And we'll come across that a lot. I know a few people are probably listening to us now commenting on other directors that did the same thing. But, it's still just like, well, dang, like, wow. You know who else wasn't too impressed by this?
Who?
Betsy Palmer, who plays Pamela Voorhees. They showed
Why?
her. I'm about to get all up into her
Was it
business
because
real
like they
quick.
did a close up on her teeth?
Well, no, 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 no. She was shown a picture of Jason, like little kid Jason, and she was like, "Who is this?" He was like, "That's your son." She was like, "Oh, well, why does he look so strange?" And they explained to her that he was a mongoloid. She was like, "That
Oh,
wasn't in the
what?
script."
Poor thing.
That was her exact reaction. Or what? But speaking of Betsy Palmer, she plays Pamela Voorhees, and she was just a good time all around. I highly recommend y'all watch the documentary because she was such a delight. Let me tell you how she got this job. She had a new car. Well, she didn't have a new car. She had a car. It broke down literally the week before this script landed in her lap. She pooped all on this script. She was like, "What is this garbage? Like, why would you send me this? Have you seen my track sheet? Like, have you seen the acting that I've done? Why do you think I would do this?" But then her car broke down and she was like, "Oh, well, I guess I need a new car." So,
I mean, hey, money can be a great motivation.
okay. And then I got into learning about like her acting methods. Her preferred method is the Stanislavski method. And basically, what that is you give your character a backstory in short. So after she read the script and she seen what Pamela was, she basically gave her a backstory, a condensed version, a girl that was in high school around like the 1940s. So, it's very conservative about that time. She had a boyfriend, they end up hooking up, but you're not supposed to do that then. She gets pregnant, the dad leaves, all of that. You're not supposed to have babies out of wedlock. You already know how that goes.
Yeah.
And of course, she goes on to raise this son, and she, trying to get any job that she can, ends up working as a cook at Camp Crystal Lake. She's working overtime. Obviously, she can't watch her kids. These kids are supposed to be watching her kid, as camp counselors are just older kids. And boom, this happens to Jason, and now that's her motivation. And I'm like,
That's
well,
so
dang,
sad.
yeah, it is. Like, you created this whole little
It's
backstory,
very sad.
and now we see why Victor Miller was mad.
I mean, I would be too, because it doesn't make sense at all. Like, it does
Because
not
you
make
do have to
sense.
think, and y'all know I will defend the craziest of things, but it is something because, okay, if this happened in 1958 or no, 57, and then the movie takes place 1958, and then it goes to present day, which would be what, 1979, 1980. So, what was Jason doing all that time? And then when we last see him, he's a baby, but the next day in part two is something different.
So,
Hmm.
who wrote the part two?
Okay, no spoilers for part two, but it was written by Ron Kurz. And this one
Okay.
was directed by Steve Miner.
Okay. Well,
I mean, this happens all the time in horror. It's so many properties that get taken over by other people, and then you'll see like sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work.
yeah. I mean, shoot, Jason gets a lot of money.
And I'm not saying this didn't work, survivors. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in some instances, it just turns out to be something that maybe wasn't the original plan.
I was
But
like, isn't there another Jason coming out this year?
okay, so from what I know, there's a lot of legal issues with Jason, and that's the holdup on a new movie coming out because they can't figure out who actually owns the rights. And that was another reason why Freddy versus Jason took so freaking long to come out.
Yeah, because I was looking on YouTube to find the original trailer because the trailer that was on Amazon was like a new remastered trailer. And I'm like, no, I want to see
Right.
the original. So when I was looking for the original, I saw that there was a sneak peek or a trailer for the version that was supposed to come out this year. And I'm like, there's another one coming out?
No, I don't think so. People would be losing their minds if it was. I don't think so.
I'm just confused.
Survivors, let us know. If y'all know something, y'all can let us know on our Twitter. But as far as I know, I don't think there is. But back into the cast. Adrienne King, she plays Alice Hardy. Apparently some tea on the set for you. A very much married Sean Cunningham was a little sweet on Miss Adrian here. I heard there was some special treatment going on the set. People was noticing. I'm like, okay.
Yikes.
I know, right? But then also after the movie, she like blew up, right? And ended up having a stalker problem. So much so that she like low key like pulled out of the whole entire thing because it ended up in a confrontation at gunpoint because the stalker like befriended her and she had no idea like she was befriending the stalker. So the
That's
stalker knew where she
scary.
lived. Ain't that crazy? But in recent days, the last few documentaries that I mentioned, she's in them. So she started reappearing and surfacing. So that's good.
That is so scary.
That is, I don't even.
Oh my gosh. Like that reminds me of this video. Did you see the video I sent you
Yeah.
of the guy at the doorbell?
Yeah. A few people sent me that. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
if you guys don't know what we're talking about, there's a video caught by Ring Alarm where a Caucasian male comes up to someone's door and he's like banging on the door and he just keeps repeating.
Are you sure? And then there was something else. Just come outside. Are you sure? I just want to talk. Are you
Yeah, he
sure?
was like, yeah, that's what he was like. Are you sure? I just want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are
And then
you
just kept
sure?
knocking.
So the girl, she's inside, she's hiding, final girl shit. And then the husband, he's on a Ring alarm. And you know how this is the thing I don't like about Ring. Ring takes so long to connect.
It
You know what I'm saying? It
does.
takes
Oh my
so long
gosh.
to connect that I hate it. Like by the time you get on there and you're able to press a button, the mic, like anything could have happened. So the husband, he gets on the ring and is like asking the dude why he's here. And the dude's like, I'm just knocking on the door. I'm trying to talk to the girl on the other side of this door because I want to rape her and kill her. Legit says that out of his mouth. And I'm just watching through my phone, like,
Scared for her.
and he knocks on the door again. Are you sure? I just want to ask you a question. At this point, the husband, like, trying to get him off the porch. Like, the husband, I don't know where the husband was. I think he was at work or he was, like, out. And the guy leaves, but I'm still just like, no,
Still
we would have
talking
to
to
go.
himself.
Yeah, still talking. It's multiple cars passing by, but of course, you would never know. You just see somebody standing at the door. You don't know what they're doing, you know? Woo! No. Mm-mm.
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 Whew, that was scary.
I did not like that.
And that's what that actress having a stalker just reminded me of.
Woo! Okay, let's move past this. So sorry. Lori Bartram, she plays Brenda. Rest in peace. Baby Kevin Bacon as Jack Burrell. He's adorable in this movie.
Yes, a young Kevin Bacon is so cute.
So he was cool with Mark Nelson, who plays Ned, and Janine Taylor. And let me tell you something. Ned low-key stamped the goofy friend trope. Note I said stamped, not started. Of course he didn't start it. But a lot of the like goofy friend that gets killed or that be playing too much and you probably think it's them started from him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so once you get to see a little more of this franchise, you'll see it be in a few more characters in the installments, and then you'll start recognizing it in other places. Janine Taylor, who plays Marcy, this is who I was talking about. Joan reminded me of in Fear Street. Harry Crosby plays Bill, and then Robbie Morgan plays Annie, our fake final girl, a la Marion Crane Psycho and a la Scream, Drew Barrymore. Walter Gorney, Crazy Ralph, rest in peace. And then Peter Browser as Steve Christie, the owner of Camp Crystal Lake. You know what? Speaking of Fear Street, I'm going to just say this and I'm going to be done, y'all. Watching this movie and this actually being like in the 80s, in the 70s, and then watching movies made today that are supposed to be back in time, it
All
really is
they
different.
Yeah, because all they really do is they try to change like the light filter to make it look like it's old, and then maybe changed up the clothing somewhat, and then they just happen to film a location that has old timey cars or whatever because a lot of
Yeah.
people love old cars. But it's really just a lighting change versus actually watching an older movie, and it's like, wow, the quality was just what it was.
I mean, not even the quality. Like when I was looking at some of the set pieces or like around the camp of Crystal Lake, like how the weeds looked, like how the camp looked overall versus Camp Nightwing. And obviously, like we said, this is in the 80s. So,
And
you
this is
have,
actually at a camp. I don't think
mm-hmm.
Camp Nightwing was at a camp. It was at a state park.
Which is, I mean, you get the feel, but it's not authentic. And because I
Yeah,
was like looking at their cabins and like the cabins are like green, you know? And I mean, I'm not saying like brown is the incorrect color, but it's just crazy to see what things really are versus what we start to interpret them as now.
that's true.
I got something for you. You ready to go to the queue line?
Uh-oh.
Don't be scared. Okay, y'all, listen. We'll be right back, okay?
Howdy, survivors. Please keep your tips and limbs inside the vehicle and remain seated at all times. Hang on to your personal belongings, especially your minds and spines. 'Cause this here's a wild ride.
So, since this is our first Friday the 13th movie, I figured it'd just be fitting to figure out, if you would survive a night at Camp Crystal Lake. Because, these
I,
teens are in for a long night at Camp Blood. And, things can happen, sis.
yikes.
You're working as a camp counselor for the summer. A few people been telling you it's a maniac walking around there. And you just like, that's a legend. I'ma just keep pushing. And the first thing I want you to do is pick a name and age. Veronica, 23. Josh, 19. Tiffany, 20. Bobby, 21. Lisa, 22. Garrett, 24.
Veronica 23.
Bet. You're looking around to see which cabin you should stay in for the summer. Which one do you choose? Cabin A, Cabin B, or Cabin C?
I'll go with B.
As you're unpacking in your cabin, you hear a strange noise outside your window. What do you do? Go out and investigate, duh.
Mm-mm.
Pretend you didn't hear it and continue unpacking. Open the window and ask, is anyone there?
Mm-mm. Those are the only three?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm staying inside and act like I ain't hear shit.
As you're heading out of the cabin, you see a dead body. What do you do? Immediately freak out and run the other way? Calmly step back into your cabin? Check to see if they are okay.
Oh, this is a hard one because if I run, I can get got. I'm just going back inside.
You say you ain't checking the body.
No, that's one of
You're,
the worst things to do.
I'm glad you're smart. I'm glad because that is a setup. That's how they get you because they're gonna bait you with somebody else, and it might not even be the other person. It might be the killer themselves.
Right, because
Now,
it's like
anyway,
it's like either I run and take my chances of them getting me, or I just go back inside because I knew they wasn't inside with me already. So I just go back inside.
I don't know. These days, we be having people just pop up out of nowhere, but in this instance, you're safe for now. Pick a weapon: a stick, that axe that was mentioned earlier to cut wood, or a knife from the kitchen.
um, Axe requires too much follow through. So I'm just gonna take a knife.
It starts to rain. What do you do? Two options: run to the nearest cabin until it stops, hide under a tree.
What? Um, I don't know. I guess go to the nearest cabin and just hope I don't die.
As it stops raining, you see Jason approaching, machete in hand. What do you do? Run for your life. Run towards him and attack him with your weapon, Beg and plead for your life.
Oh, I'm gone. She's a runner. She's a track star. I'm out.
Oh, you want to know your results?
I probably died.
Girl, Jason got you.
Not sorry you're dead.
I made it. I chose the axe and then I chose to run towards him because I just figure if I run towards him, he might be confused. And if we do scrap a little bit, I might just still like discombobulate him enough to get a leg up and still run.
Because I felt like with an axe, that's just too much work. With a knife, just
Mm-mm.
go chink 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 chink.
See, this is my thinking. With a knife, you have to get too close.
That's
With an
true.
axe, it's some range. And then after me seeing Tommy Slater get them arm games in Fear Street, I'm confident that I can do the same. I am not gonna shut up about Fear Street like until October. I can feel it. I am like it has taken over me and I'm fine with it. But you know what, y'all? Just hold on tight because when we come back, we're gonna be talking about 1980s Friday the 13th.
Hello? Who's that? Oh, hi. What are you doing out in this mess?
One. Two.
You're all doomed.
Three.
We weren't doing anything. We were just messing up.
Four. Five. Six.
Must be my imagination.
Seven.
Can I help you? Hello?
Eight. Nine. 10. 11. 12. Friday, the 13th. You may only see it once, but that will be enough. Friday, the 13th.
You know what? I think this trailer, and I could just be talking mess, but maybe one of the first trailers or one of the older ones that literally, oh, no, I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm definitely lying. We've watched older movies, but this one definitely sucked.
Okay, so the one I watched was like 2 minutes and it was long as hell. And I didn't like the fact that it listed out all the kills. Yeah, I didn't like
One,
that.
two. Like this thing counts slower than count on Sesame Street.
And then I saw another trailer, which was the one that's attached to the movie on Amazon. And that one was like a 2020 remastering. And I didn't like it. Whoever does all the movie voices now, that's basically who's doing the voiceover for that and was like the original Friday the 13th. And it was just a lot.
Uh-oh, guys. I think Johnny gave y'all a little hint to her rating. Uh-oh. Hot take. The fires and the pitchforks are going to come out. But before that happens, let's take it back to 1958, summer of 1958 to be exact, at Camp Crystal Lake, where counselors by day, sneaky links by night, Barry Jackson and Claudette Hayes leave their little counselor group to go meet in a storage cabin to, hook up when a mystery assailant pops up and murks them. So apparently this opening scene was going to be a little more gruesome, right? A, they didn't have time to shoot it. And so when A happened, B was like, okay, well, how about we just make all the rest of the deaths like gradually more gory? The girl Claudette, hers is more gory. We just don't see it. But I've seen pictures of like her neck slashed.
So I just want to talk about their song that they were singing in front of the fire. It took me back to my childhood.
You were singing Michael Wrote Above the Shore.
I was. I was singing right along with them.
You like this one more than the Silent Deadly Night singing?
Well, okay, so this one was more nostalgic. Silent Night Deadly Night was like, yo, this slaps.
But you know what? I need to bring up something else. When they get caught, it kind of tips you off a little bit because it got to be somebody they know by the way they react.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if it wasn't somebody you knew, they might react a little bit different.
They were like, oh, we weren't doing nothing. We was just, yeah.
Because I'm telling you, if it was somebody I wouldn't, I'm telling you, if it's somebody that I didn't know, that's not the reaction we giving. But anyway, 21 years later, new camp counselor Annie Phillips is given a lift and an earful on the way to the newly reopened Camp Crystal Lake by Enos, a truck driver. So he goes on to tell her that, like, yeah, a little boy got drowned there, then 2 kids got killed the next year. And then you know what? It's just been crazy ever since. But let me stop. Why is it that when she walks in the store and all of the older people just look at her and she says where she's going, why doesn't anybody say anything? They're just like, oh, you're going there? You don't know? Like, well, apparently, no, she don't know. Why did you say something? And then Enos is so rude. He's just like, you're a dumb kid. Like, why would you work there? But you're the one giving her a lift towards there. I don't get it.
I mean, she ain't believe him no way.
Okay, he ain't have to insult her like that. Like, Jesus. So already at the camp are counselors Ned, Jack, Bill, Marcy, Brenda, and Alice, also working for the owner, Steve Christie. They have about 2 weeks to prep for camp before it opens, and baby, they behind. Alice and Mr. Christie, they got a little thing going on.
Yeah, I did peep that.
If they boned, is she breaking the final girl trope rule in the prime of the final girl? And she smokes too. Don't forget later on in the movie, she definitely hit the B.
Well, she ain't die.
She breaks all those rules.
We don't know if she actually had sex with him.
She said that's what he looked like last night.
Oh.
And then he was like, give me another chance. I think that tells us. I feel like Final Girls wasn't like breaking the rules of the traditional Final Girl till about maybe like early 2000s, maybe. Or maybe I could be lying, but a lot of our Final Girls, they were basically pure and clean. You know what I'm saying?
Was Sydney pure and clean?
But see, the whole thing about Sydney was it wasn't until Billy popped that cherry, pop, 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 that he could kill her because she wasn't a virgin no more.
That's true.
And that's why he went after her after that. Before that, she was safe.
I guess.
So I'm just saying, Alice out here trendsetting.
I just want to know why the dude who gave Annie a ride had to grab her butt to push her in the truck.
I did flying. And I know sometimes when I flew, my butt did get grabbed, but I guess it was just because of what we were doing. So I was trying to take that into account. But I'm like, you definitely could have grabbed like under the thigh or even like he might have not been tall enough to like reach her back. But I peeped. I definitely peeped.
And then I didn't like the fact when she was like, at least I'm not afraid of ghosts. Girl, he's not telling you ghost stories. He's telling you actual accounts of murder.
Okay. Like you don't read the newspaper, honey. I know y'all don't get Twitter. I know y'all don't get social media. Y'all don't get cell phones. I know. Girl, you ain't read none of this.
Child. Why she ended up dead.
During them setting up, signs of a thunderstorm starts rolling in, and Mr. Christie leaves to go get some extra stock supplies, just in case it's an emergency. Can't never be too sure. Then Annie, remember, we really just got finished talking about her. She got dropped off at a cemetery, right? She hitches another ride, but this literally goes all the way left because when she gets in, she's just talking to first of all, I was dead when she was like, well, when you had a dream as long as I've had, I'm like, sis, you're like 20.
I
What are you
mean,
talking
you
about?
gotta think like if this I think this was filmed in what, like 79.
Yeah,
So like in the late 70s, people were still not really going to college yet and like coming right out of high school and picking their career. So
you're right.
I feel like, see, now we don't really be caring that
Sure
early
don't.
about what we want to do with our life, but I feel like they had to think about it earlier than what we did. Because we still had college to cushion it. So
You're right.
a lot of them didn't go to college, just like high school, real world.
You're right. Did you peep that the Jeep that picked up Annie is the same one that Mr. Christie left in?
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out because sometimes when you watch movies, you just literally watch it for what it is, and then you get older or you just rewatch the movies and you like, oh, that's what this is about, or I never thought about that, like stuff like that. And I'm trying to figure out, did I ever at any point think that Mr. Christie was the one killing people?
So here's, if I didn't know who really killed everybody at the end, then I would have thought that Mr. Christie was the one who was killing people
Because
because it
he
was
is
the same Jeep.
being, besides that, but he's also like when you think about his interaction with Alice, creep alert.
Very creepy.
Like he's like, just stay here, and if you don't like it, then I'll take care of it. Take care of it. Wait a minute.
Right. You can go home in a week. A week. Enough time for me
But
to die.
but Annie ends up getting her throat slashed because she realizes during her hitchhike ride they don't turn for Camp Crystal Lake. And first of all, let me tell you, this girl is a real life gymnast, like in real life. I know you saw that
Somersault
somersault.
or
Yeah,
roll. She really did a nice little stop and roll
it
out
was
the
nice.
car.
It was nice. I
That's what
was
they
like,
would tell.
oh, okay.
That's exactly how they tell you to do it too. When you jump out of a moving vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Like we need to adapt those techniques because I'm like, oh, she ain't hurt herself for nothing. She do her own stunts. It's probably why she got the job. They was like, you can do a somersault out of a car. Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, you're hired. And so now we're just hanging out with the rest of the counselors. They're just hanging around whole time. Somebody's lurking. They don't know.
I don't
That's
understand that in movies. Like I be feeling just here. If I even when I was in my parents' house, I can kind of hear when the atmosphere in a room changes. So I could always sense when someone comes in a room or when someone walks up behind me and stuff. So how could you not feel somebody watching you in the woods?
because I mean, I
That's
feel
just
like
me.
that's a more open space though. If we sitting at a dock and it's somebody in the woods a good few feet away from us, I'm not gonna clock that. I'm not gonna clock that. Now, if I'm like by myself and I just feel weird, then that's gonna cause for me to like be a little bit on high alert and to be looking around. Like the part where Alice, like I think she goes to tell Bill something and there's somebody watching her behind a tree, but she literally walks past them and doesn't even like see them. I would be like, okay, well, I feel like I probably would have like saw a something there or
And that's
something
what
would have
I
made me look over
and
there.
see, and that's the part exactly what I mean. Like you literally walked right past whoever is behind that tree. I would have felt something was off. But that's just
In the
me.
rest of the cases, I feel like the person was in a far enough vicinity that I wouldn't have been too keen to it, especially with everything else going on around me. Let me tell you something. This snake scene, Why was that a real snake? Why did they kill it? And why did the owner not know that they were going to kill it?
Oh, like I would have been upset. I was this like a hired snake?
I don't know what the actual story is, but apparently it had to be. They had this kid come in, or not a kid, but they had somebody come in who had this snake. And I guess they like told them, like, we're gonna like have it do what it do. And they for real killed it. And I don't know if he was supposed to kill it for real. I just why y'all didn't tell that man y'all was gonna kill his snake?
That's so messed up. I would never want to work with any horror production police people
Ever
ever
again.
again.
Ever again. Like, y'all don't know how long he had that snake. He might have had that snake as a baby. Somebody important might have gave him that snake. Oh, the trauma. Oh, wow.
Wow. That would have scarred me for life. You killed my. What if that was their pet? Like, you killed my pet. They were the worst snake killers ever.
Brenda was just smacking the pillow on the ground. Everybody else was just freaking out. I'm like, y'all are not helping.
Falling all over the place.
Right. Like, y'all just not okay. Because I would have been on top of something and just pointing. That would have been my role.
Just terrible.
Oh, no. You want to know what's terrible? Ned out here appropriating cultures. I was like, but at the same time, I'm kind of having like an identity crisis. And I don't even think it's an identity crisis. It's not, I'm being dramatic, but it's like, dang, is that what I was looking like a few years ago?
Probably. Probably.
It's okay. It's fine. It's whatever. It was a moment and I had fun, but it's okay. It's not okay. The messenger of God.
I just want to say that he'd be moving it on his bike. I guess drugs would do it to you.
First of all, how did you were just at the little convenience store that we saw Annie at. How did you get to Crystal Lake that quick?
Maybe he hitched a ride with the killer.
What if that was really a thing? Because obviously Crazy Ralph is supposed to be a red herring and the harbinger, but
probably. But that's why I said either he had to be pushing it on that bike because you biked a mighty far away. But either that
didn't break a sweat or nothing.
Right.
But then I like the way that he just walks out. He just tells them what he needs to say and he just walks out, get on his bike, leave.
Drugs. I'm convinced. Drugs.
At this point, we're starting to get into some of these kills, right? Ned, he goes off. First of all, I'm not following nobody that I don't think I recognize. Exactly. He sees somebody, goes in a cabin, and he's just following them. Why? And then not too far away, Marcy has like a Phoebe Cates Gremlins moment. Do you remember that moment with Phoebe Cates about her dad and the Christmas story?
Oh, yeah.
Marcy, like when she tells Jack about that dream about the storm and it's raining so hard, and when she blocks the noise, the rain starts turning into blood. Jack was like,
it's just a dream.
You're right. I'm still gonna hit though. Because he does. Niggas. The whole time, Ned is on the bunk on top of them. His throat is slit. They don't know.
I thought that was so wild.
BJ was watching this movie with me, and I guess I didn't even ask him. I should have asked him had he seen this, or like had it just been a while and he just, didn't remember. But he was shook by the things that he was seeing. He was like, oh, wow. I was like, yeah, they're real out here.
It's kind of scary.
You know what else is scary? Marcy going to the bathroom and Jack not going because, sir, you should have went too. Everybody should pee after. Just saying.
Also scary? The fact that everybody walking around this camp fucking barefoot.
In certain areas, because remember, we took that quiz. I said definitely grab your, foot slippers. But I feel like in my own dorm, I'm probably going to be barefoot. But as soon as I step my foot out, I'm putting something on my feet. But it also depends on the floor too.
But I'm saying they were bare. Homegirl, when she left from Strip Monopoly, she didn't put on any shoes. She just walked out the cabin.
She didn't. But no, I was just talking about me personally because I was trying to be real and think how often would I be barefoot? But I have socks on now. And I have socks on all the time when I'm in the house. So I guess that's not barefoot. So I guess that's
Yeah,
different.
I normally have on slippers. It's rare that I'll walk across my floor barefoot.
Yeah, same. So never mind. I just told y'all a lie, but it's fine. But this is why I said Jack should have took his ass to the bathroom. While he's enjoying a little post-coital J, he gets a freaking arrow through the throat, through the bed.
Yeah, I like that kill.
It was a good kill. I mean, nobody was expecting it.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. I was like, damn. Because I was thinking, like, a little splatter blood on the face. I'm going to get up and look and see my friend dead. Nope, don't
Mm-hmm.
even get the chance.
Oh, I like that it subverted your expectation. That's good. And then the killer ends up following Marcy into the bathroom and fucking slams an axe into her face. And I told y'all, told y'all, here I go. Didn't it remind y'all, Joan? It's literally the same scenario, literally the same. Joan and Will had just got done doing it. Joan heard a noise. She went to check it out, fake out, got 2 slices to the face. Oh my God. Justice for Marcy and Joan. Oh my goodness. I can't take it. Marcy literally would have been just like Joan had the camp actually, ran and had some kids. Just how nice and sweet Joan was, Marcy would have been that. And that is so sad that her light had to be dimmed like that.
Sorry.
I know I really be taking these characters back.
You do.
Do not get me started on Kate, y'all, because that was just wrong. Oh
I
my
just be
gosh.
like, damn, and another one, depending on who it is, though.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes I just be like, dang, y'all be writing these characters and I be getting attached to them. And I just be like, damn, you gonna kill them like that? Why you want to hurt me?
Ain't nobody safe in these streets.
Especially not in this genre. Hell no. Keeping busy during the storm, playing a little strip Monopoly with Bill and Alice. Brenda leaves to the bathroom before bed. And when she's brushing her teeth and that hand is behind the curtain,
See, I would have heard that and I would have felt that.
you would have to know somebody's in the room with you. And then when she leaves, that lamp is swinging and it wasn't moving before. I'm just like,
And the
no,
light
that's
was
too much.
out. Because remember, the light was on.
Oh my God. See, I'm like, that's too much. No. And Brenda literally gets tucked and cozy. She want to read her a little book. She hears a voice calling for help and she just goes outside
Nope.
onto the archery range.
Nope.
Still raining and the lights just turn on and she starts screaming, but I guess we're going to find out what happens to her later. But we can all assume that yes, she got. And we just took the quiz, sis. We literally just took the quiz. Did you not hear the answers? Like, go back.
I just want to say that I'm adding strip Monopoly to my game nights. I'm for real.
Noted. So Mr. Christie, throughout this whole little thing, he left to go get some emergency supplies. He stopped at a diner and after had some car troubles with his Jeep. Because, I told y'all, because remember, homegirl and Piranha was driving that Jeep like a mad woman and ran it down. Jeeps just be having issues for real. I think we're really starting to see that. Like in horror movies, if you ever want to write car issues, just write a Jeep into it because it's really looking like they really do be failing.
Deterring me from buying a Jeep.
I want a Jeep. I'm not deterring me. I'm still going to get one at some point. I just know. And then I actually know somebody that had one in real life now that I think about it that had Jeep issues. So yes, they're not lying. I actually know someone now that I think about it and say it. But anyway, all of this with Mr. Christie going on kind of lets you know that it's not him because there's no way he can be out and doing this at the same time. But he ends up returning to Camp Crystal Lake and on site, literally, he hasn't even been on the grounds for 2 minutes. On site, gets shanked.
Poor thing. Shouldn't have been a creep. It's like, I really don't know
Yeah.
if he was a creep or not.
Yeah, and it's like I don't, but it's like
I
he's
don't know.
kind of just like creepy, kind of like because it seems like if they're all like younger, like maybe I'll say maybe like 19 to 21, 22 maybe. He looks like he might be like 25, 26. And like those two worlds are different worlds.
They are.
Alice might have been like 22, 23 or something. I don't know. I'm making up ages, but that's why that seemed weird. Alice tells Bill that she thinks she heard Brenda screaming and saw the lights on the archery range turn on. Worried, they leave the main cabin to go investigate. Why? They end up finding an axe in Brenda's bed, the phone's disconnected, and Ned's truck not working. Everything that can go left did. And then the power goes out. Perfect. Bill goes to check on the generator. He been gone for a grip. Where is Bill? Alice goes to look for him. Why? Doesn't find him, but girl closes the door and Bill is pinned up to the door with arrows all up in his body.
Sorry, Bill.
I would have been out. Don't ask me where, but I just would have had to go. I mean, she goes to the main cabin and, she starts like, she is pretty resourceful. I have to give her that because when she started tying up the door and barricading it,
sure,
you're doing something. You're doing something. Closing the windows, like arming herself. Yes. Then Brenda's freaking body comes through the window. Oh, hell. Oh, no. It's too much. And then like a vehicle pulls up. She think it's Steve because again, remember y'all, it's the same Jeep. And instead, she's greeted by Mrs. Voorhees, a nice older woman who claims to be an old friend of the Christies. She used to be the cook at the campground. And she reveals that her son, Jason, was the young boy who drowned in 1957. She comes in, she sees Brenda's body on the floor, and she's just like all calm. But then this mofo just switched and starts blaming his death on the camp counselors who were supposed to be watching him. Because, Jason wasn't a good swimmer like Kenny over at Camp Arawak. The camp counselors wasn't watching. They was doing it. And she reveals herself to be the killer. And then she just straight up goes after Alice. She don't even give Alice a second to register what just happened.
See, once she started talking crazy, I would have hopped right in that open truck.
She could have, but I think Alice was really just trying to, because I think the last time I watched this franchise was 2018, maybe. So when I watched it this time and I was watching Pamela, I was just like, wow, this lady is nuts. Like I would have been so unsettled because she was unsettling me and I wasn't even there.
And I would have hopped right in the truck. Like, fuck you, lady. I'm out. You're weird.
I don't know, because you see the way she was moving fast, okay? People be saying, so you want me to believe that this lady was the one killing these people, throwing people bodies through windows, pinning them up to such and such. I'm like, y'all got to stop doubting the strength of a woman. That's number one. Now, maybe Bill, because as high as he was pinned up to that door, maybe I get that. Maybe you got me there. But everybody else, I feel like that's quite feasible.
Oh, no. She was my favorite, though.
Especially when she like walks out and she's like, kill her, mommy. Kill her. Don't let her get away, mommy. Don't let her live.
This is crazy.
I won't. I said, not her fucking talking. Oh, no. Girl, you got to go. And then, first of all, girl, why in real life was Betsy hitting Adrian? Like in real life. So much so that Adrian was calling cut and was crying, screaming for Sean. Like, she hit me. And Sean Cunningham was like, you're supposed to miss her, not like hit her for real. Betsy was like, what? It said hit her in the script. I hit her.
Hit Weezer.
Oh my gosh. So this fight, they end up at the shore. And Pamela tries again to kill Alice, but Alice gets one up on her and swings that axe and decapitates Miss Voorhees literally in one swoop. And this is where the man hands come up. Even though, okay, because my thing is, when people get decapitated, we usually sometimes, depending, just see the body fall down. I think it's something else for the hands to pop up and be like grabbing at the head because there's no head there. Like your body's still working. That's fucking creepy.
I mean, think about a chicken with its head cut off. It still be running.
But I really like the hands grabbing at the head, even if they are hairy and not a woman's hands. It's okay.
Oh, man.
So I understand at this point, Alice is so discombobulated, but I want to know, like, why was getting in the canoe and just hanging out in the lake the best option?
I don't know. That confused me. I would have went back to that truck and got the fuck out of there.
First, I was like, okay, maybe you don't know if there are more killers. But I'm like, girl, that car was still running too. The car was still on during all of this. So she wakes up in the morning, the police arrive, it's all good. The music is letting us know it's all good. As soon as she wake up and see the police, why does a deformed, decomposed Jason just hop out the woodwork of the water and snatch her ass in the water? But then we don't even know if that's real, because when she wakes up in the hospital, they like, what little boy is you talking about? Like, ain't no little boy.
Right.
Maybe he's still there. I'm like, girl, look, you better just be happy you here. Okay. I don't even think you need to worry about it at this point. I mean, I know we see the ripples in the water and now we know what we know today, but sis, leave it alone. And that was a Friday the 13th.
Gowns, beautiful gowns.
Ooh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Ooh. And that wasn't even a ooh from me. That was from the survivor. That was for them, because I'm just like, oh, ooh, you know, they don't play with you. You better stop playing with them.
All right, so
you better stop playing with them.
My favorite thing about this movie was the music. Like, I love the music, love the opening credits, and I loved Pamela. Like, she was lit. But the rest of the movie, it was kind of boring. And I feel like I felt that way because I already knew the ending.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked all the special effects.
This movie is another one that's always been there for me. So seeing it now, and I know it, it's just like, if I haven't seen it in a while, sometimes it can surprise me because I'm like, oh, I forgot this happens. Or if I have seen it recently, I guess I'm just enjoying it for the ride. So it's always a cool one for me, you know?
And I think another thing for me is that I like actually seeing kills and not like seeing the after effect of the kill. So that's why I like Kevin Bacon's, because it's okay, I'm actually seeing you slice something in his neck. And like the axe scene, it was like, okay, you see it after she gets the axe to the face. So
yeah, you got to give them credit. It is the 80s, so it's not like they had everything necessary. And this was, at this time, this was top tier gore. Like this, you weren't getting this nowhere else. We are in an era where we have gotten more and we're going back looking at where it started. So, you know.
I want to see you die. I want to see you after you got the axe to the face. I want to see the axe and the guy swinging the axe into your face, like Tommy. I want to see the moment of impact.
I get it. I mean, but that's why. No, Johnny, for the 1500th time, you are on a horror podcast.
No,
like, what do you think we do here?
My walls are thin. So I'm like, just listening to myself talk right now, and I'm like, I probably sound so psychotic to my neighbors right now.
You need to get none of the walls that thin. You don't need to be there.
Because I'm by the front door, so you know, if you talk loud enough, you can hear somebody talking in the place.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by Fear Street 1978 for the 1500,000th time. You see a lot of the impact of those axe hits.
Love a great kill, okay? Let me see all the action.
Yeah. So I just think it's a product of its time, to be very honest with you, though. But before we go to the souvenir shop, let's rate this first. 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 2 out of 5 on Real Views. What do you give Friday the 13th?
I give it a 70.
Okay,
and
y'all.
see,
that's not as away, y'all.
It's not as bad as you guys thought it was.
Don't kill me. I'm telling you, I look. It wasn't gonna be me because you know, like,
don't kill me.
Like, I'm cool with the Friday the 13th, but I ain't gonna geek about it. But when we come to Freddy, you just better come correct. No, I'm just playing. I'm not gonna bully. I'm playing. I'm kidding.
I don't believe you.
Because it's so funny, y'all. Because I'll be the one like, don't be gatekeeping, y'all. Let people like what they like. Soon as somebody say they don't like a movie I think should be liked by everyone, I go ham. And like, say you don't like Carrie, I will tear your head off.
And that's exactly what happened in a Clubhouse room this past week.
What? It was me? What'd I do?
Somebody mentioned something about Carrie, and you were like, no.
Oh
What
yeah,
we
no,
not
do
gonna
not play with Carrietta White. Like, do not play with her. It's other people I don't play about, but that one I really don't play about her. Like, don't do her. Ooh, child. Okay. Anyway, my rating for this movie. It's a good camp slasher. The Friday the 13th franchise in general, even though I always poop on it for being nonsensical because it is, it's still a good time regardless. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 82.
Okay.
And now I can talk about all the stuff that's in the souvenir shop. Are you ready to bounce with me?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
It seems you survived. Well, before you go, join us in the souvenir shop.
And what camp is this?
Grand Crystal Lake, the little tour. Girl, I can't even pronounce the name. But it's Camp Crystal Lake, like the real life camp that they shot the movie at. If you don't know,
Oh no, Scobie or Nobi Scope, something like that. I know what you're talking about.
I can't pronounce it.
It's
for
still
the life
in
of me.
business today. Like they still have camp every summer.
Yes, which is why they only do tours in like June and then September. And then probably they do some in October, but then that's when it stops because it's in New Jersey and it starts to get too cold. But they sell out so fast. And I think Adrian is going to be there in September. So I was supposed to go in August, but I missed the window of opportunity to buy the tickets. And I'm pretty sure that I probably missed the window of opportunity to get tickets for September because y'all Friday the 13th fans.
They don't play.
Yeah.
Oh, when I told you, no, I was serious, Johnny. If you would have gave this a crazy rating, like they might have canceled us, sis. And I'm dead serious. Like, you think Fred heads are crazy? No. No. They gonna go ham for theirs, okay? Like, I think I'm gonna let them handle that.
Like,
so
I'm
much.
sorry. If you wanted to see the Camp Crystal Lake sign as you roll up the pathway into the camp, you probably missed your window of opportunity because they took that sign away in August. So now it's probably going to be inside the museum now, but it's not going to be hanging anymore. They officially retired the sign. So I'm kind of sad about that, but life.
Right. Ain't it? I hate that. I mean, that's why you just got to do stuff on the fly when you want to do it.
Right. So I'm actually thinking about, I'm looking at it. They still got some dates open, some tickets open in September. So we'll see.
You know, a few seconds ago when you was talking about like how loyal these bands are, you can literally get Friday the 13th anything. And I mean anything. Shirts, pajamas, sweatpants, coffee mugs, masks, NECA toys, action figures. Johnny has the mask.
Which I got signed by CJ Graham.
You can get different versions of the mask too, because I don't know if you know this, Nay, but Jason literally has different hockey masks throughout different movies. He doesn't even get the mask till the third movie, but from the third movie on, there are different variations of the mask.
So I can't even tell you which variation I got, but I got it signed.
Do you have one that has like an axe cut at the top, like a chip piece?
You know, that's a good question.
Go look at it.
In front of it. 1 second. I'm going to go grab my mask. So no, my mask does not have a chip in the top of it.
So you got one of like the earlier ones. But as we go through the series, you'll see. And this one, it's one installment I'm excited for you to see because someone's in it, and you probably already know already, but someone's in it that you're going to like freak out about.
Oh, isn't that one of them? One of my boos from Supernatural?
Nope.
Oh. Wasn't he in one of them?
I mean, Jared Padalecki is in one, but that's not who I'm talking about. It's an earlier installment, and you're going to just flip out. Before we wrap it up, I just want to talk about the cover art because this is another one I will always see in the video store. And what it is literally an outline of a body. So off top, if you've never seen the movie, you're going to think it's Jason or a guy, you know, typically associated with the male. But it's an outline of a body with a bloody knife. And then it's on the inside, it's Camp Crystal Lake with like, our prospective teens. And it's a really good poster for 1980. Like you recognize this anywhere. You ready for me to run these park announcements?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, if you stuck around to the very end, congrats, you real, and you get to find out what next month's theme is. Next month, we are going back to school, not high school, because no thank you. But we're going back to college. It is
I would
ABC
gladly go
anything.
back to college.
Honestly, and I'm not holding you. I will go right back. And I would even go back to the school I went to, even though I
Me
swore up and down I would
too.
transfer. But it's cool. But this is ABC month, anything but college. If it's a horror movie and it's set in college, it ain't about to have nothing to do with college. And survivors, y'all got a heads up on that. If you been on, you already knew the theme from the park highlights on our IG page at D180 Podcast. That's still up. You can check it out for the rest of the season. If you want to give input for September for our Shop Till You Drop month, you could go ahead and send those survivor submissions to Destination 180 Podcast at gmail.com. Or even if you want to start submitting for our second season, because we've been playing a lot with that season, but I don't know. I really like what we got coming up for season 2. So if y'all want to have some input on that, you know where to find us. Don't forget to hit us up. What do you think about this episode? Is Friday the 13th your favorite? What's your favorite installment? You can let us know on our Twitter at D180 Podcast. All of our handles are pretty much the same. But other than that, we gonna wrap up Camp 180 and we'll see y'all next week when class is in session. We'll see you soon, survivors.
Bye.